senior Chris McGinnis, one of the best kickers in America. Great punter. He's number 2 in the nation in punting. He'll be kicking it to David Dunn, who's 3rd in the WAC in kickoff return. Bulldogs are 2-0 at the stadium this year. Wins over Oregon State and Utah State handle it. McGinnis hits the ball, and we're underway. David Dunn, 3 yards deep's coming out. Only to the 18-yard line. Colby Hofer made the stop, and Trent Dilfer will be on for the first time tonight. Trent all WAC a year ago. These are the backs and receivers that he'll be working with. Charlie Jones has had a splendid season. Rivers the all-time leading ball carrier. The outstanding offensive line, and Kenny Hall is healthy. That's a good sign on the right side of the offensive line. Dilfer throwing on first down. Charlie Jones has a first down to the 29-yard line.
Bulldogs would like to do this all night long if they can, because Air Force plays kind of a soft zone defense, and if they don't get much rush on Dilfer, he'll be able to throw those short little passes on him.
Davis, Hennings, and Sutton is a good group, but not very big. Harrison and Yandel, outstanding pass rushers. Russ leads the team in tackles. And Brian Watkins, 3 interceptions this year, one of the best in the WAC. First down at the 29. Ron Rivers for 3 yards. LeRon Hudgens out of the secondary made the stop. It'll be second down and 8. 67%. He has been efficient. But the bad news, the 2 games that he's thrown for over 400 yards, the Bulldogs have lost at Baylor and at Colorado State. So obviously, Ralph, they want to mix it up and get that ground game going.
Yeah, they don't want to have to throw 54 times tonight. They want to get the ball on the ground, run the clock, move the sticks, as I said earlier, put some points on the board, and just kind of control the tempo of the ball game.
Slot right with Malcolm Sebron. Rivers to the 37 or 38-yard line. Top rusher in the Western Athletic Conference. He's ahead of Marshall Faulk of San Diego State. That would surprise some people at this stage of the year, but Rivers has been a terrific back for the Bulldogs. They're down and a couple to go for Fresno State. Opening possession of the ball game. We played 90 seconds at Bulldog Stadium. Ron Rivers, and he is stopped cold. Steve Russ, that outstanding linebacker, number 58. He's a big guy to move. He's 6 feet 6 inches tall and 240 pounds, and he denied Rivers.
Well, the Air Force Falcons up front do a lot of stunning and twisting. They give you a lot of different fronts, and sometimes you run into big holes, sometimes you run into big tackles, and that was the case there.
Derek Mahoney, who struggled at Fort Collins, Colorado, is kicking line drives, kicking it away to Brian Watkins of the Air Force. Watkins waves for the fair catch and then backed off. Down at the 25-yard line, and that's where the Falcons will have it for the first time, and we'll see that wishbone attack.
One of the problems Mahoney had last week was he was getting a little too excited. Instead of being a 2-step punter, he was a 3-step punter, which gives you too much momentum coming behind the ball, and you kick those line drives.
We'll step aside for a moment. Air Force will have it when we come back, right after this. 12:35 left of the first quarter. The Falcons and Damon Cash have it for the first time. Those are his passing yards, but he's much tougher on the ground. He had 172 of those yards against San Diego State. The fullback carries for the first time Joe Parisi. And he ran into Ron Papazian. Onaha and Young are outstanding. Parisi, tough. Marsh, pretty good wide receiver, although he doesn't see the ball often. And Eglin is the tight end. Martin Edwards, perhaps the best of that front wall. Second down, 6. Cash running laterally. And Damon Cash with a good effort to the 50-yard line. Omar Stoutmire finally pushed him down, but Damon Cash, you can see his speed to the outside.
And he fooled the young man Stoutmire as well on that play.
Bell Preisendorf getting his initial start, the redshirt freshman, and a healthy Rockwell. Kastner's first start. Papazian has been outstanding so far this year. And Omar Stoutmire has beaten Sam Watson out for the strong safety position. First down at the 50-yard line. Onaha piercing that Bulldog defense for 5 more.
And this is a defense that's been challenged by the head coach. Coach Sweeney said it was open season to find football players this week. He was not pleased with the spirit they showed at Colorado State.
Number 24 is a 3-year letterman. He runs the 40 in 4.4. Onaha very quick. He's Nigerian. And he can pick it up and lay it down. 2nd and 5 for the Falcons. Line of scrimmage, the Fresno State 45. Parisi runs into Rockwell and gets put 2.
And the guy who put the real big hit there was Chris Peters. Met him head on and stopped him in his tracks.
Peters is playing with a bruised kidney, but he's a tough kid. Remember last year he had all those shoulder problems and still was outstanding against USC in the Freedom Bowl.
Problems in both shoulders, but you wouldn't know it.
3rd and 3. Air Force with its first possession. No score. 10:45 left. First quarter. Air Force keeping it on the ground. Cash denied. Steve, Kastner, Crombie, and Papazian all there.
Kastner, one of the new looks in the front, and of course we all know about Papazian. And it's actually Demetrius Edwards, looks like, come from behind and dragging him down. Papazian finishes him off.
4th down, Air Force is going to go. There's Papazian, the transfer from Pacific, who's been so good for Jim Sweeney's team. 4th and 1 at the Fresno State 41. And Parisi should have enough for a first down.
One thing we know about the Air Force, they come to play every down. That's the thing that has gotten a great deal of respect from the assistant coaches, as they did get the first down there. But they play snap to whistle, give it all they've got. So they bring a full load to this dance.
Well, Willie Robinson anticipated that the fullbacks would do well for Air Force. Robinson, the defensive coordinator for Fresno State, he wanted to take away the outside game. And so far, Cash has been able to get to the outside once. Cash again. And he gets to the outside again. And he's inside the 30-yard line and close to another first down as the tackle is secured by Ron Papazian. Well, you can see that Cash very quick to turn it upfield.
And it'll take him a while. It'll take the Bulldogs a little while to get adjusted to this and figure it out. But he's going to get on the outside, not where they want him. The option to pitch, he keeps it and actually slips there right in front of Lance Thomas before Papazian comes in to finish him off.
Cash 3 carries, 22 yards. After the 9-yard pickup, 2nd down and 1. Cash again turning the corner and fumble. A.J. Gass, the freshman, with the recovery. There's a young man that's moved up the charts and is playing very well for the Bulldogs.
I was watching this thinking, my goodness, how did he get away from Lance Thomas, one of the most sure tacklers on the team? But fortunately for the Bulldogs, Thomas gets a little piece of him. Then Stoutmire kind of knocks the ball loose. That's one freshman causing the fumble, another one picking it up.
Now that has plagued Air Force, turning the football over. The Bulldogs will take it, say thank you, and start from their 12-yard line.
And the defense will go over to the sideline, get a little rest, and maybe plot a little strategy.
Scoreless, 8:54 left first quarter. This Bulldog offense averages 38 points a game. Dilfer's hit as he released. There are flags down. That play never looked like it was on the same page at any one time, and you can see that Trent Dilfer is hot. At the academy was offside. That's why they got to Dilfer so quickly.
And that was almost one of those plays you expect him to blow and blow the whistle. Everybody kind of pulled up, but boy, Dilfer really takes a shot here, and I think that's what he was a little hot about. Ouch. Not good on the shoulder.
First and 5 for Fresno State. Now, Air Force has also been bitten by giving up the big plays in the air. You know, with Trent Dilfer and all those 5 receivers, as Dunn checks in and Jones goes out.
The Bulldogs think that they are susceptible to the big play, but they have to hit the underneath passes before they can maybe burn them deep. But they're going to keep them honest.
Rivers and Burke on each side of Dilfer. And it's Rivers with blockers to the 25-yard line, and a first down for Ron Rivers. The all-time ball carrier for Fresno State and for Jim Sweeney.
Out of the shotgun, it's Dilfer with a little inside handoff. Rivers going around the left side. Russ Hartman out there in front of him with a block. Josh Coldiron clearing away for him. Big play for Rivers.
Watkins would not have tackled him. Rivers would have had a huge gain. Play action. Dilfer looking for the big one. For Charlie Jones. Jeff Tedford wanted to stretch the Air Force defense, and even though they don't complete it here, they at least stretch the Falcons.
And it's a little message, giving them something to think about. We're going to try and go deep on you, so you better have your guys back there. And Watkins, one of the guys they're worried about. Charlie almost made a great one-handed catch, but that's kind of a message, a purpose play to open things up underneath now, where they can try and split the seams in the zone and hit the little passes and maybe turn them into big plays.
3 wideouts in the game, with Rivers the lone setback. Charlie Jones with a good move to get outside. That's a terrific effort by Jones in a first down.
And I don't know if you'll see it on the replay, but he got a terrific block on the corner from Malcolm Seabrun. And here it comes. Watch for number 81. Malcolm Seabrun is going to throw the block once he starts to get around that corner. He'll change directions. And here it comes. Oh!
And that little push by Mike Black at the end of the play is going to cost Air Force 15 more yards.
Good ball foul. Personal foul. Late out of bounds. 15-yard penalty against the defense. First down.
Fresno State in the Falcons side of the 50-yard line. There's Black being a little overzealous.
Yeah, so there. We told you they played snap the whistle. I guess they say, well, they played a little bit after the whistle on this one. But that's a questionable call.
Now, that was a little soft for getting that kind of penalty. At the Air Force 41. And Dilfer, again, an apparent mix-up, goes forward for a couple yards. As Steve Russ, the inside linebacker, made still another hit.
Looked like there was a lot of movement on the line on that play, but no flag.
7:45 left, a scoreless first quarter. And look, everybody out of sequence here.
Kenny Hall gets out early. Hartman gets out late.
And Dilfer did the smart thing, just take it upfield a couple yards.
That's good.
Second down and a short 9. Dilfer scrambling free. Inside the 35-yard line. And again, he has 4.740 speed, and he's got an attitude. Let's see, he's talking to everybody. He wants an extra 15 thrown on.
He had great pressure coming off the edge by linebacker Saxon Yandel. This was another guy the Bulldogs were worried about, and fortunately he was able to spin out of that one and scramble. But Yandel is a guy they're going to have their eye on the whole game. They may have to use one of the running backs to try and pick him up when he comes in on a blitz.
And Yandel's been double teamed all season long, and he had an outstanding game at Navy. 3rd and 3 for the Bulldogs. 34-yard line of Air Force. Daigle is twisted down by Mike Black. And he didn't get to the first down stick. And it'll be 4th down for the Bulldogs with 7 minutes left in the first quarter.
And they're going to go for it. This is 4-down territory for them. They feel if they can't get a yard on 4th down, as you see, this is a very good team against the rush. So
4th and 2. Jim Sweeney in his 16th year at the helm of Fresno State. Dilfer will run it and have a first down. Secured the tackle by Mike Black. And Dilfer doing a very good job of giving up his body to get the first down.
It looks like he made the right decision here. Jeff Arnold, the tight end on the right side, kind of heads up field, and Dilfer thought about throwing it, but when he saw the opening and he could pick up the first down, he went in head first.
All just inside the 30. Bulldogs moving downfield after the Cash turnover. Pump fake for Malcolm Sebron. Not a good throw. Quite candidly, that's 2 throws that have been headed deep against the Air Force defense, and they've not been thrown well by Trent Dilfer.
Well, he had a little problem with that one, but as we said, they're going to try and hit the big plays because they think that they're going to break one here sometime. But yeah, this double coverage on that makes it awful difficult when you got the safety coming over to protect.
Yeah, Dilfer's lucky to get that one back. Kevin Sweeney, looks like Trent's not throwing the ball deep well.
Well, he's not throwing it well. He's throwing in the coverage a little bit. He looks a little uncomfortable, Randy. I think his left shoulder, he looks like he's stiff. And even watching him in pregame, he looked a little tight.
And around with Charlie Jones. Jones to the 20, to the 10, in the end zone.
And we were talking about the big plays. You can score them without throwing the ball. This is it. The end around, and Charlie gets out there and starts using the speed. He had Kenny Hall throwing a block to clear the way. Malcolm Sebron was upfield, creating a little interference. He hops over Russ Hartman and goes in for the score.
Mahoney looking to make it 7-0. And he converts. 5:59 left in the opening quarter. The touchdown, the reverse to Charlie Jones. And the Bulldogs are up a score, 7-0 on Air Force. Bulldogs are leading 7-0 with 5:59 left in the first quarter. An impressive drive, 88 yards, and it took 2:55. Charlie Jones having a good ball game. Not only the 30-yard TD reverse run, he's caught a couple for 28 yards.
And they converted a 4th down play on the drive.
Now the run by Dilfer. Mahoney kicking off. This one will be picked up by Mickey Dalton. James Fuller on the specialty team with quite a collision.
And that makes the kicking team feel terrific after what they went through last week at Colorado State. Let's take another look at it. And Fuller will say practice was worth it this week. This is the kind of hit you live for on special teams. Oh,
Mickey Dalton doesn't live for that. Falcons, the mighty Falcons from their 14. And it's Cash again. And he gets 6 yards in the grasp of Lance Thomas. We talk about Lance Thomas, one of the most well-conditioned athletes in the Fresno State program. But he's going to be chasing a lot against number 1.
He's the guy who's going after Cash. You see Kasner there with outside protection. Fortunately, Thomas is there to finish it up.
Cash, 48 yards on the ground already in this game. Onaha across the 25-yard line and appears to have another Falcon first down.
Getting back to Lance Thomas for a minute, you talked about his great condition. Here was a guy who, during 2-a-day practice sessions, after practice, wanted to go into Bulldog Stadium and run the stairs. He takes a great deal of pride in being the best conditioned athlete on this football team.
Well, he may not be running the stairs tonight, but he'll be chasing these ball carriers. Good group of backs the Falcons have. Cash again on the perimeter. And Damon Cash close to another 10-yard pickup. Steve Kastner out there. The Bulldogs coming up out of the secondary. Stoutmire, but by the time they get to Cash, he's downfield.
That's the problem you have with these guys. Once they get out in the open, well, watch out. But this is a case where Lance Thomas had the initial shot at him here and was unable to wrap him up. And the freshman Stoutmire came in and closed out the play.
Now, Air Force hasn't thrown a pass in this first quarter, Ralph, but here's a perfect situation on 2nd and inches.
Well, it would be perfect. You wonder if Fisher DeBerry is willing to gamble, but they told us, hey, don't isolate on our receivers with the television cameras because they won't be used.
On 2nd and 1, I don't know how much of a gamble it would be. Well, Cash may be audibleizing. Onaha. And a first down. Well, Air Force has moved it effectively on the ground. They haven't scored. They've turned it over. They had a good drive earlier. But you can see they're getting off the ball quickly, and they're spreading it around. This Onaha knows how to run.
And they'll keep doing this until the Bulldogs stop them, or, as was the case in their first drive, they stopped themselves with the turnover.
Obasi Onaha was an honorable mention all-WAC player a year ago. They think Cash is going to be one of the better players in the WAC before his career is over. He's only a sophomore, this quarterback. Gene Smith able to read the play nicely. 3.5 minutes left first quarter. Fresno State leading Air Force 7-0. A Charlie Jones 30-yard touchdown. The score for the Bulldogs.
Smith playing this one a little hurt. He's been hurt for, well, most of the season, but you see he was not fooled that time and wrapped him up for the stop.
Gene Smith leads the WAC with 3 fumble forces this year. He's been active despite being banged up. 2nd down and 9 for the Falcons. And the fullback dive play, which is the first option. Parisi a few upfield. The first option in any wishbone is to the fullback.
And Parisi is a guy we've probably be calling a lot tonight. He figures to get a lot of action running the ball up the middle against Fresno State.
3rd down for Air Force and 4 at their 44-yard line. What a hit, but what a well-distributed play by the quarterback Cash. You saw Watson come up and hammer the quarterback, but he was still able to pitch it wide.
That's what the Bulldogs want to do all night. They want to give Cash plenty to think about, and here's a little message from Sam Watson to drop him. Jones comes up and makes the stop, but of course you want to make that guy get rid of the ball and think he's not going to get hit, so you keep hitting him whether he's carrying it or not. And that's the idea, to stop in this wishbone, at least giving that quarterback something to think about every time he has the ball. Maybe he'll get a little nervous on the pitch or something and just keep hitting him wham wham right in the face.
Now they're short. Well, Fisher DeBerry, the way his team has run the football, has to feel confident. I think he's going to go for it here, wouldn't you?
I would expect him to go for it. Maybe something with the fullback up the middle again.
And they've been able to get 2 or 3 yards on every try in the middle of the line. And on 4th down and less than 1, this will be quite a test for that Bulldog front. Jim Sweeney's team up 7-0. 2:15 left in the first quarter. First ever meeting, Air Force and Fresno State. Wishbone, Parisi the fullback, Young and Onaha are the halfbacks. The keeper by Cash for a first down. And like Colorado State, Air Force wants to possess the football, run time off the clock. Serves a dual purpose, obviously. They can keep that Fresno State offense off the field, and obviously they'd like to score.
Well, that was a nice play there because there was a big gap for him before the ball was even snapped. So he just kind of followed it and picked up the first down.
Cash with a good effort. Chris Peters running laterally had to track him down. But again, a good gain on first down for Air Force.
Well, that's the key to what they're doing here. If you can pick up those first down and second down good yardages, give yourself short yardage on 3rd down and the ability to go for it on 4th down. You can just keep moving it down the field. What Fresno State needs to do is get some big stops on 1st down.
Well, Kevin, I know you didn't run quite like Cash, but you have to really enjoy what you see with Cash and how he runs that offense.
Well, I do appreciate how he runs the offense. The thing about this is, Randy, that Fresno State scout team does not run this wishbone with the speed and efficiency that Air Force runs it. So it's going to take time to adjust defensively.
Well, Parisi goes in the middle, and he has a first down. Speaking of Cash, 9 carries, 67 yards. The sophomore from Lima, Ohio, number 1. This is just a simple handoff, but he's running the show effectively.
And the coaches were telling us also that early in the season, the scout team was able to run the wishbone fairly effectively against Fresno State, but the Bulldogs having some experience with it, were becoming better at defensing it.
And Cash changing the play. And Parisi with his 6th carry of the first quarter. And Demetrius Edwards plugging up the hole in the middle with help from Brad Bell. And wasn't Bell spectacular a week ago in Fort Collins?
Brad Bell has just been a steady player for Fresno State in the line all year long. He is a classic overachiever. He bulked up in the offseason, worked on the weights, gained some weight, and has just been an anchor in the defensive line.
Parisi, second leading ball carrier to Cash. Final 10 seconds in the first quarter. 7-0 Fresno State, but Air Force looking to tie it. 106 yards on the ground for the Falcons in the first quarter. Another fumble. Stoutmire has recovered. There is a flag down.
It was the game within the game there because Fresno State was shifting on offense. It looked like Cash checked off to another play. Then the Bulldogs kind of shifted back. Looked like Colbert forcing the fumble, and there's the freshman to pick it up. Another turnover for Air Force. Fresno State has the ball.
The second turnover, both on the ground against the Falcons in the first quarter. And when return, that penalty was against the Falcons. The Bulldogs will have it. It's 7-0 Fresno State after the first quarter. Adam, welcome back to Bulldog Stadium. Randy Rosenblum, Ralph Wood, and Kevin Sweeney tonight. Bulldogs leading the Air Force Falcons 7-0. Charlie Jones 30-yard reverse for a score. They end around for number 24. That's how the Bulldogs scored in the first quarter. Bulldogs get it back. 2 turnovers against the Falcons. They put the ball on the ground twice in that wishbone attack. That's aided and abetted the chances tonight of the Bulldogs. See what Trent Dilfer can do as Fresno State starts from its 38-yard line. Jones has 6 yards to the 44 with the grasp of linebacker Steve Walker.
And it's a good idea for the Bulldogs to get the ball into the hands of Charlie Jones as often as they can, because this guy makes things happen. The quick drop, the quick pass by Dilfer. And this guy, you know, can break one anytime he gets his hands on the football, can't he, Randy?
Absolutely. Great quickness. He's had that kind of year, the big play season. Of course, his brother Tommy Jones doing a pretty good job at the quarterback spot for the Bulldogs. Dilfer pressured again with a flag down. Intended for David Dunn. Legal procedure on Fresno State.
Coach Sweeney doesn't want to see this kind of a thing pop up too often. He has a team out there who the team hasn't really had a perfect offensive game yet this season. They've been shooting themselves in the foot every once in a while and stopping their drives.
Illegal formation. Only 6 men on the line of scrimmage. A 5-yard penalty against the offense. Repeat the second down.
That last play looked like it was going to be a quick one to the near side, a quick pass, and Air Force got good pressure on Dilfer, forced him to take off and look for another option.
Second down and 9 at the 39. Winans has come in wide to the left side for Fresno State. Over the middle to Daigle. Breaks the tackle at the 45. Has a first down at the 50. Anthony Daigle's to the 41-yard line. Adam Lenhart from behind rode him down, but a great effort by number 2, Anthony Daigle.
And in this case, this is something we may see the rest of the year, or more often the rest of the year, with their fullback problems. They had both Daigle and Rivers in the backfield at the same time. This time the option was to hit Daigle with the pass, and he does the rest. That's just a terrific run by Anthony Daigle.
Brent Dilfer is 5 of 7 for 60 yards this evening. That's a big shot right into Winans, and a perfectly executed look into Titus Winans. But the Bulldogs are guilty of a hold, and this one's coming back.
Not sure if we can pick it up. Kenny Hall doing some work on the outside there. You couldn't quite tell who was doing the holding. It was the guy who was getting close to Dilfer from the far side.
Well, Kevin,
it might be Ron Collins, 60 right there. He's got a headlock.
Well, Kevin Sweeney, that was a good throw, the best one by Dilfer so far tonight, but it's wiped out via the penalty.
That's right. It was a great throw by Trenton. And those first two balls that we talked about and commented that were deep and into coverage, they served purpose and got those defensive backs on their heels, and those hooks will be open for Trent all night long.
The holding infraction. It's 1st and 20. Loosen up in the secondary with the Bulldogs needing a lot of yardage. To Malcolm Sebron, but he's wide. He's outside the boundary. Our Pacific Bell Smart Yellow Pages first quarter stats, and you can see the disparity in the rushing game favoring the Falcons, but the Bulldogs a little bit obviously more prepared offensively to throw the football.
Nothing passing for the Falcons. They haven't even thrown the football, and the 2 turnovers, of course, is the big story here, because they've been moving the ball on the ground.
Yeah, the Bulldogs really haven't stopped them. Air Force has stopped themselves.
But they're giving the Bulldogs a chance to look at them and get used to it, try and figure things out.
Dilfer moving in that pocket. For Dunn. Dunn did an outstanding job coming back to his quarterback to make the grab. Watch how number 11 adjusts to help his distressed quarterback.
You'll see both Titus Winans, number 5, down there, and then the deeper guy is David Dunn. For a while you thought maybe it was going to Winans as he heads to the sideline, but Dunn is there to corral it for the first down. big play for the Bulldogs.
Kevin, that's knowing how many yards you need by that wide receiver, David Dunn.
Well, that's a great play by David Dunn, but an exciting play by Trent Dilfer. That actually is a designed rollout. Moves the pocket, and those pass rushers can't hone in on his back. A great throw by Trent Dilfer and great play by David Dunn.
Bulldogs at the Air Force 30, and here's a Rivers reverse as he gives it to Dunn, and the pass back downfield for Jones. Touchdown, Fresno State. Well, Jim Sweeney drew that one up on the board for us yesterday, saying you're going to see it tonight. And it was diagrammed and run, executed to perfection.
Yes, he pulled it out of the bag just perfectly, and it looked like Dunn might have been able to score a touchdown if he had kept it and run the ball. He was wide open, nothing but green grass, but he gets a nice pass to Charlie Jones for his second touchdown of the ball game.
Jones has 2 touchdowns, 1 on the ground and 1 in the air, both 30 yards. Mahoney gives Fresno State a 14-0 lead as they come back up the field. 12:37 left in the half. The Bulldogs by 2 touchdowns over Air Force. Well, the Bulldogs, who are so tough at home, have been helped by Air Force, turning it over on 2 fumbles. And on this last occasion, the Bulldogs took it downfield and scored. And the reverse pass done to Jones, and Mahoney advancing on the ball. Better coverage again. Mickey Dalton could not find a crease.
Good coverage by number 55 there, Leroy Colbert. Lance Thomas coming in late to finish it up.
Ralph, I think Air Force, and I know they've been successful on the ground, has to at least show the pass, and down by 14-0 after the impressive Bulldog drive of 62 yards and that electrifying Dunn to Jones pass. I really believe Air Force has to throw it, at least showcase it, and give Fresno State's defense something to think about.
Well, they have 19 turnovers now this season, 9 of those interceptions, so they can throw the ball, but they have to be very careful.
Jake Malloy has entered as the fullback, and Jake Malloy has it, and the Bulldogs have him. And Gene Smith really getting off the ball quickly for the Bulldogs, number 13.
And keep your eye on number 54, Brad Bell, because he's the first guy at the fire. Right there, knocks him a little bit off his pins. And then Gene Smith comes and finishes him off.
12 minutes left in the first half. Bulldogs 14. Falcons nothing. You can see no passing yardage yet. No passing attempts. Can't gain anything in the air if you don't throw it. Jeremy Johnson can't get wide. And Papazian got over there, number 95. Ron Papazian, a very quick inside linebacker. He can really run the ball carriers down.
That is absolutely incredible for a linebacker like that. A big guy to turn it up and get across field to tackle one of those scat backs. Great play by Ron Papazian. And that puts these guys in a 3rd down and long position that we were talking about, instead of those 3rd and 1 or 4th and a half a yard thing.
You would think this would be the Falcons' first pass of the night. 3rd and 9. Jake Malloy with a first down, and that was well executed. Throwing back to the fullback, and he picked up some nice blocks and has his first down.
They came out of the wishbone there. They had a single back, and it's Malloy. You see him right there, number 30, fakes the draw. And they've got the Bulldogs fooled. They've got him thinking the flow is to the far side. Throw it back this way, and look at Malloy. He's got some good blocking and picks up good yardage for the first down.
Air Force has 3 effective fullbacks: Malloy, Pastorello, who has been very good, and of course Joe Parisi, who started. Cash still has it. And a nice effort by Damon Cash. Rockwell brings him down, but Cash is very elusive, not only outside but inside. A big crowd at Bulldog Stadium. Over 41,000 tonight. Another sellout for Fresno State. Coming up at halftime, we'll interview Coach Jim Swinney. Our Delta Airlines Bulldog Spotlight, and it'll be on record-setting Anthony Daigle. We'll have a news break from KMPH. And, of course, our Pacific Bell Smart Yellow Pages highlights and stats. At the dive, the fullback dive with the hard-charging fullback Jake Malloy. He's a junior from Marion, Iowa. Kevin Swinney, the Falcons are moving it again. This time they're able to implement the pass on one occasion.
Well, the pass one occasion. If I'm Fisher-DeBerry, I don't like my matchup with James Burton against the receivers of Air Force. So you're going to see trickery and coming out of here. They're in a wing set and doing a little trickery to fool the Bulldog defense.
But Fisher-DeBerry has to like the way his team has moved it on the ground. Has to be upset with the turnover. Cash again. Jeremy Johnson. Well executed inside the Bulldog 30. Johnson stepped out back at the 26. And another first down for the Falcons with 9:57 left in the half. And Fresno State trying to protect a 14-0 lead.
And, of course, this is what Fresno State was worried about. The guys, Cash and his pitch man, getting out on the perimeter and being able to turn the corner and come upfield.
You can see where he stepped out. A.J. Gash showing some pretty good speed downfield to bring down Johnson. Again, like the Bulldog receiving corps, a lot of good players in a skilled position. Only for Air Force, they're the backs. Jake Malloy putting the head down and running into Papazian. Out of the 20-yard line and a quick 6 yards for Malloy.
And you're seeing why this offense is so tough to defend. You're fooled. You got guys going every direction. It looks like you're playing Canadian League. And who's got the ball? You got to just about knock everybody down that you see.
Malloy's coming here. 3 carries, 37 yards. And Roth, you're right. It is a game of deception with that wishbone attack. Boy, Cash is going to be a good one. He's only a sophomore. Late pitch to Campbell. That's a pretty good spin move, isn't it? Jake Campbell, sophomore. Scored 4 touchdowns this year. And again, they're playing it fast and loose.
But they nearly turned it over for a 3rd time. Fumble on that play, as you'll see.
That's the case of a back trying too hard to get that extra yardage.
Yeah, he started spinning around away from the tacklers there and left himself exposed. Did a good job to keep the ball on the kind of a high pitch. And there's the hit. The ball pops out. But the Falcons recovered.
That's one they needed to recover. And Jake Campbell running hard. 4 touchdowns, 3 on the ground, 1 in the air this year. 3rd and short. Cash has a first down before he's upended by Ron Papazian. And methodically, the Falcons are driving the football. Very impressive drive.
And they drive you crazy on defense because it's like grabbing a wet bar of soap in the shower. Brad Bell just kind of grabs air and says, oh my gosh, how did he get away and where'd he go? And fortunately, Papazian there is there to knock him down, but not before he got the first down. But it is a tough one to defend.
Papazian making a lot of tackles for the Bulldogs tonight. Air Force again deep in Bulldog territory. And the dive to Malloy, spinning inside the 10-yard line. Jake Malloy. Again, they have 3 good fullbacks, and they can keep pounding it at you inside. Under 8 minutes to play in the first half. Fresno State 14. The mighty Falcons of Air Force nothing. 10-play drive. Falcons have covered 71 yards to reach the Bulldog 9. And Jake Malloy inside the 5-yard line. And again, it was Papazian.
And they're doing a good job of mixing it up, whether they go inside or outside. First down for Air Force.
This week in Bulldog Sports, we'll feature the 9th-ranked soccer team. They'll be hosting Cal on Thursday. And the golf team to compete in Stockton on Monday. Of course, this week in sports brought to you by Texaco. Texaco, the star of the American road. First and goal for Cash and the Falcons. Trying to cash in on an outstanding drive. And again, it's Jake Malloy. They're just pounding it straight at Fresno State. And again, they're taking time off the clock. They'd love to score. And by doing that, taking the time off the clock, it takes it away from that Bulldog offense that has been spectacular.
You talk about a balanced attack that Fresno State likes to have, mixing the pass and the run. Well, these guys have a balanced attack as well. It's just that all of the guys that run the football run it so well.
And when you get the inside working, that'll open it up to the perimeter. Second down and goal, just outside the 1. Cash with a late pitch. Fumble on the hit by Burton. It looks like the Bulldogs and Ron Papazian give tremendous credit to James Burton. Omaha never had a chance.
You are going to see a big-time hit by James Burton. Watch the senior cornerback come up, read it, and nail him. Ouch. Omaha coughs up the football. Another turnover. That's a characteristic of a wishbone team. They leave the football on the ground. That's the 3rd fumble.
3 turnovers against the Falcons. They have conquered the enemy. And so far for the Air Force, the enemy is themselves. 14-0 Bulldogs. And tickets are still available for the Bulldogs' next home game. The UTEP Miners will be in town on November 6th. Along with the exciting action, the Dogs on the field, of course, are always entertaining. There'll be fireworks and skydivers. Kickoff is at 5 o'clock, not 7, at 5 o'clock. For more ticket information, call 278-DOGS. All tonight, the Bulldogs are leading 14-0 over Air Force. 6:20 left in this first half. And Air Force has coughed it up 3 times. Now, there it is. That graphic illustrates the problems to the Falcons. Outstanding linebacker, number 58, Steve Russ, able to stop the Bulldog attack. It'll be 2nd down and 9.
Fresno State playing with emotion, and that's what head coach Jim Sweeney was looking for. He felt it was his responsibility to get the team fired up. He got them so fired up that 3 guys got concussions in practice this week. So it was a fired-up session.
Well, Bulldogs have done it with 2 big plays by Charlie Jones, and they've been aided and abetted by mistakes by Air Force. Air Force statistically doing well, but not on the scoreboard. Guilford to his tight end, Jeff Arnold. And that's a 1st down for Fresno State and gives them much better field position.
Bulldogs feel they're at their best on offense when they're able to control the football. You see Jeff Arnold, 6 catches, 58 yards, and a touchdown. But this is kind of a ball control play. They want to be able to keep control of the football, run that clock, work their way down the field, and then when they get into that scoring territory, maybe then they can burn them with the special plays.
Winans wide left, Dunn deployed to the right. Daigle breaking tackles. That's a hard run by Anthony Daigle. Anthony Daigle, see, has the 29 rushing touchdowns and 35 overall. Looking to make this a record-setting night. One more would break Dean Philpott's record.
Number 63, Michael Ivory, out there looking for somebody to block, and he actually ran by a couple of guys. But, yeah, Anthony Daigle would like to get that record tonight, get it out of the way, and win the game and look forward to the rest of the season.
And Dean Philpott's here tonight to watch Daigle, see if he will indeed break the record. Daigle again. Another tough run inside by Anthony Daigle. Of course, Jamie Christian was ruled ineligible earlier. And the Bulldogs have not had the tough fullback, but doing some inside damage currently is Anthony Daigle.
That's right, and they also lost Sal Mexico because he's got a shoulder problem. He can't play tonight, so that leaves Chris Burke there. And then Eric Kroll will come in and help out if he needs to. And then we've seen Ron Rivers and Anthony Daigle lining up in the backfield at the same time. As a matter of fact, they are back there together right now.
4 minutes left in the half. Bulldogs trying to build on a 14-0 lead. Out of the shotgun, the Bulldogs run it with Ron Rivers.
Rivers is something to watch when he's going inside. He just kind of bends over, gets down low, puts a hand out, and follows his offensive lineman so well. He just picks his way. He's kind of short, so he gets lost in all those big bodies, and it works out.
Don't be deceived by Air Force 1-5 record. They've been competitive in every game but the BYU game, where they were beaten 30-3. But the Bulldogs have them by the neck in the first half, leading 14-0. For Roberson. Again, the freshman receiver did a good job coming back for the ball.
There's a penalty on the play. There was a blitz. You may have a hold on Fresno State trying to pick up the blitz. Roberson did a great job, and the penalty is a holding, so it goes for naught. But watch Roberson catch this ball, and then the defender takes it away from him, but he's already down. Of course, there's the catch. He's down now. And the defender ends up with it, but it all goes for nothing because it's holding penalty.
And Kelvin King was looking for the theft. This one will be accepted by Air Force.
That might work in the NFL, but you are down when you're down in college football. This is a chance for Fresno State to really, I'm not going to say deliver a knockout blow, because Air Force certainly can explode on offense.
Holding. A 10-yard penalty against the offense. Repeat the second down.
See if we can pick up the hold. There it is. You see Kenny Hall at the bottom of the screen, now the left of the screen, trying to protect his quarterback. And of course they'll take that penalty rather than risk injury to Trent Dilfer.
Here comes the blitz, and they pick it up with the screen to Rivers. Well, it was a 2nd and 21, and Rivers got about 10 back, and Dilfer was lucky to unload that one.
It's a big play because they did put big pressure on Trent. Developed a little more quickly than you'd like. All the alarms go off when they put on a blitz like that.
KMPH Fox 26 is proud to have Donna G. Sales, local distributor for Budweiser, on board this season as a sponsor for Bulldog football. KMPH would like to say thanks to Donna G. Sales for helping us bring you exciting Bulldog football action.
A little over 2 minutes left now. This is where Fresno State wants to hang on to the football, get a drive going, get a score, and get into the locker room.
And before they look at 3rd and 11, Fresno State elects to call timeout. 2 minutes, 5 seconds left in the opening half. The Bulldogs facing a big 3rd down when we come back to Bulldog Stadium, with the Dogs leading by 2 touchdowns. And tomorrow night, the laughs are on your station beginning at 7 with the all-new episodes of Townsend Television, Martin, Living Single, Married with Children, and Daddy Dearest. The laughs start tomorrow night at 7, only on your station, KMPH Fox 26. Randy Rosenbaum, Ralph Wood, and Kevin Sweeney tonight. We have witnessed Fresno State 14-0 lead. The Bulldogs looking at 3rd down and 11 at their 41-yard line. Jim Sweeney's defense able to force 3 turnovers. Fisher DeBerry looking for a big play defensively to stop the Bulldogs. 10th year, DeBerry's done a terrific job. Appeared to slip as Dilfer threw it, and Air Force is held. And the Bulldogs will have to punt it away.
Daigle came out in motion on that one, and you're right. Trent just kind of let that one get away. Got to him on a hop.
Air Force calls a timeout. Try to set up the return of Brian Watkins. It's 14-0. The Bulldogs will come back. Mahoney will be kicking away. We'll see if the Falcons can get on the board. It's like the NFL. We have a 2-minute warning. We'll be back in a moment.
In a whole new class.
The athletic department would like to welcome Bulldog fans to the Doghouse, the only official Fresno State team shop. The Doghouse features Bulldog souvenir apparel, and it's located on the upper level in the Manchester Center. The latest in Bulldog sports apparel is available at the Doghouse. And the Doghouse here has been kind to Fresno State to the tune of 14-0. Mahoney punted it away, and Air Force will get it back, trailing by the 2 touchdowns with just 2 minutes left in the half. Brian Watkins electing to return, and he's thrown down by Fuller. Now, perhaps the Bulldogs got him by the face mask.
Either that, or he's going to say Fuller didn't give him enough room to catch the ball. But Fuller looking for his second big hit of the game on kick team.
Well, he didn't get him by the face mask, so he must not have given him the necessary yardage to move the ball upfield.
But it's a good sign and a big change from last week's kick cover teams.
Yeah, a little bit more aggressive, aren't they? Well, it's an interference call. This will cost the Bulldogs some yardage.
And the kicks are better. We talked about that too last week. Derek Mahoney getting into a 3-step punt, as Coach Sweeney was explaining it to me earlier this week. It gives you the line drive. It gives you a little distance, but it keeps the kick flow and gives the teams a chance to return it. He wants him to take the 2 steps and pop it, which gives you more altitude.
Catch interference. 5-yard penalty against the kicking team. First down.
Yeah, that's another close one, Randy. I'm not sure. Well, the referee couldn't have been much closer to make that call.
5-yard infraction. Air Force 75 yards away, and 1:52 to try to negotiate the ground. How about that play by Sam Watson? Well, Watson has lost his starting role at the strong safety spot to Omar Stoutmire, and for the second time tonight, a terrific shoulder hit by the senior.
And that is exactly the kind of response you want from a senior who has lost his starting job. I'll show you where I belong in that lineup.
Jeremy Johnson looked up and saw Watson at his face. The Bulldogs call the timeout. It's a loss of 5. It'll be 2nd down and 15.
Of course, they're thinking they've got a chance now to get the ball back in great field position and strike before halftime.
Bulldogs have 1 timeout remaining. Air Force has 2. I want to remind everyone, on October 25th, the wildest, most outrageous party of the year is coming to your living room. The world television premiere of the first interactive movie, one of my favorites, the Rocky Horror Picture Show. And it's coming October 25th at 8 o'clock on your station, KMPH Fox 26. Let's go and take a page out of history at Fresno State with Kevin Sweeney.
Page, no pun intended. I have one of the Bulldog greats, Stephon Page, down here with me. Welcome back to Fresno, Steph.
It's good to be back. It's good to be back in the hometown of Dogtown. It's good to be back.
It's great to have you. Steph, one of the things I wanted to settle here early is I was curious, who was the greatest quarterback yet ever throw to you?
The greatest? The greatest? I'd say Jeff Tedford. But
breaking
you know
my
what?
heart
There was
here.
this young man that came in from Bullet High School. I broke in.
There you
He
go.
was probably he was one of the all-time greats.
Great to have you guys here. Back upstairs.
All right.
Spot, of course, had a terrific career with the Chiefs in the NFL. Cash, quarterback draw. And he lost it again. Air Force able to recover. They are putting the ball on the ground extensively.
And they were lucky to get that one back.
Yeah, Alex Kleckner, the wide receiver, got it back. It's a first down or very close to it for the Falcons.
Like Gene Smith comes from behind and stripping it.
Yeah, they're a couple yards shy, but a good effort by Cash. And Jeremy Johnson turning the corner, and he has a first down. Now there's a flag on the far side of the field.
You saw Fresno State running guys on and off the field to try and get their defense set. They may be nailed here for illegal substitution or too many guys on the field. But here's the play. He fakes to the fullback and pulls it back. And then he has the pitch. He's looking Gene Smith right in the eye. And Jeremy Johnson takes it down the sideline before the Bulldogs knock him out.
Air Force doing a lot of damage on the ground. Let's listen to Bill McCabe and get the call.
Illegal substitution against the defense. The penalty is declined. First down.
That's too many guys on the field. They were trying to get guys on and off and didn't do it before the play was off.
Kevin, there's got to be concern by the Bulldogs, though. They're not stopping the wishbone. Air Force is moving it. They've coughed it up 3 times. They nearly lost it a 4th occasion. Minute 9 remaining in the opening half. 14-0 Bulldogs. James Burton down the far sideline. That's why Air Force doesn't throw it. Burton has the score.
The second big play of the ball game for Burton. A big hit earlier on Omaha. Now watch this. Cash just hangs it out. Burton has read it all the way. The receiver slips, and see you later. 58 yards on the touchdown for James Burton. And that's a huge play. Another turnover kills Air Force. The 4th turnover of the game for the Falcons.
Now that pass was intended for Richie Marsh, but Burton was laying in the weeds. And Mahoney misses. And it's 20-0 Fresno State with 58 seconds left. An electrifying play by senior James Burton from Long Beach, California. And the Bulldogs, well, they've given up the ground, but they've been pesky when it's counted. They've rattled the cages of these Falcons when Air Force was going to score on a couple occasions. It would appear that the Falcons would get into the Bulldog end zone, but Willie Robinson's defense has made the big play.
Oh, that's a terrific play there because, you know, Fresno State was trying to get the ball back, trying to hold them and get a chance to go on offense. But anytime your defense can come up big like that, it is a terrific bonus. You wonder about Derek Mahoney. Here's a guy who Jim Sweeney knows he's his A guy. He's just a terrific kicker and punter. He's not going to be yanked or anything, but he's going through a heck of a time right now. He's having problems punting the football, and boy, for him to miss an extra point.
KMPH Fox 26 once again is proud to have Donna G. Sales, local distributor for Budweiser, on board this season. As a fine sponsor of Bulldog football, KMPH would like to say thanks once again to Donna G. Sales for helping us bring you exciting Bulldog football. Boy, that was exciting for James Burton. Honorable mention All-WAC a year ago. Preseason All-WAC this year, and he's living up to it at least tonight. Burton just waiting, picking that one off and going down the far sideline. Obasi Onaha. Out across the 25-yard line. Andre Deshay made the hit for Fresno State.
Mahoney feeling a little better because they are getting the good coverage on the kicks, even though he missed that extra point. That was another challenge issue to this team this week. Not only the defense, but the kicking game.
Well, Cash just picked off for a Fresno State touchdown. And finds his team at a deep hole, 20-0. And the Bulldog defense, led by Steve Kastner and Omar Stoutmire, gets to Cash. They have rushed for 189 yards in the first half, Air Force, and yet they have not been able to get on the scoreboard.
Well, the turnovers have killed them, and you wonder if they're spooked after a play like that, whether they're going to throw the ball.
Well, the wishbone not noted for its hurry-up offense. Now this one stops before it develops. The flag is down. It's an Air Force team that averages 273.2 yards on the ground. That's second in the WAC and 8th in the nation. But an illegal procedure will cost them 5 here. And rushed for 349 yards against San Diego State, 325 against Wyoming. But despite pulling up some pretty big numbers in this one, Ralph, they're making mistakes. Here's another illegal procedure called in the 4 turnovers.
A little bit of a false start by the center there, getting things off before everyone else.
Dead ball foul. Illegal snap. 5-yard penalty against the offense. Still second down. Put 33 seconds on the clock, please.
Now the operator owes the Falcons 8 seconds. There you go. Penalties have not been a factor to this point. It's been the turnovers of Air Force. They have the delay, and Bulldogs able to read that and don't want to see this at all. Omar Stoutmire pushing Joseph Pastorello away, number 34. A tough season for the Falcons, who historically year in and year out go to a bowl game. They've been living in the Liberty Bowl, and they're 1-5 and they're down 20-0.
If we can get a good look at this here. You know, where it's already out of the frame. Looked like Steve Kasner was involved, number 57 there, and he gets a little shove, but the flag has already been thrown. The face mask has already been pulled.
Dead ball. Personal foul. Face mask. 15-yard penalty against the defense. First down.
Final 23 seconds of the half, and Falcons need a big player. They're going to be in the locker room down by 20-0. And the delayed pitch to Campbell, and Stoutmire is waiting for him. Well, when you have a 7 or an 8-man front, that means the strong safety's up near the line of scrimmage, and number 18 was indeed up close and was waiting for the ball carrier Campbell. This is an excellent effort by the freshman Stoutmire.
And it's interesting because we've got a little competition here. Stoutmire battling Sam Watson. He's taken his starting job, and now he's showing us why. We've seen Watson with some big plays already to state his case.
Timeout on the field called by the Falcons.
And Air Force still refuses to throw the football. Does that surprise you coming down this late in the half?
Well, what happened in the last possession, they may put the throw away for the rest of the season. They may not want to put it up top. They were burned by James Burton's 58-yard touchdown return on a pass that was intended for Richie Marsh. But it was really easy for Fresno State to stuff it out. An easy interception for Burton. He took it in, he uncontested. Now, Tuesday night, following Fox's hit comedy Rock, don't miss the show everyone's talking about, Bakersfield PD. It's not your average cop show. Then, of course, at 9, help put dangerous criminals behind bars with America's Most Wanted. The action begins Tuesday night at 8 on your station, KMPH, Fox 26. The final 14 seconds of the half. Now the Bulldogs reading Cash well. Now this half is in the book, and again it was the strong safety. This time it was Sam Watson. And Fresno State will go into the locker room with a nice working margin. The Bulldogs are 3-2 and 1-1 on the WAC. And they're looking for another victory, and for Air Force they have a 5-game losing streak. They're going to have to regroup and not turn the ball over in the second half to turn it over to the opportunistic Bulldogs. Onaha in the tail of the tandem. Number 29 in front of him is Mickey Dalton. Mickey Dalton coming upfield. And the Bulldogs cover nicely with Lance Thomas and A.J. Gass.
And James Fuller, the last guy getting up. I'll tell you, he's been down there all night, hasn't he?
Yeah, he's been popping people.
He's been great on the special team.
Well, it's homecoming. He has to pop people. Everybody's here to see the Bulldogs. Better than 41,000. Game was sold out by Friday afternoon. Only the second time at Bulldog Stadium that prior to the day of the game they had a sellout.
It's
it happened earlier against San Jose State.
They were worried that the homecoming might not mean anything to these people. I think they know it does.
Obasi Onaha runs into Ron Papazian. Papazian, that transfer from Pacific, been very active defensively for Fresno State. These Falcons are building up yardage totals, but they're not scoring.
Such an interesting story about Papazian coming from Pacific. You know, when he played on the scout team last year, he's kind of an outcast among the Bulldog players, and he had to kind of go along with it. Now he's developed into one of the stars of the defense and really earning the respect of his teammates.
Now you can afford to be an outcast when you hit people like he does. Through the middle, and with it is Parisi, fullback, the senior from Arvada, Colorado.
And Papazian again, the guy making the stop. Play will kind of come right to Papazian this time. We've seen him chasing guys down the whole game, but that one was right at him, and he took care of business.
3rd down and 1. At Air Force, not a good passing team, as we've seen tonight. Not abandoning their game plan. They're going to keep it on the ground. Fullback dive. Not a lot of running room. It's a 3rd and 1 call. And Parisi wondering if he got enough.
Chris Rockwell coming off a neck injury, earlier this season. The coaches said he was a little tentative last week, and you can understand that. Not feeling too good about sticking his neck in there. They expected him to be very aggressive tonight, and we're seeing that.
And the defense is held. Chris McGinnis will be punting. Average is better than 46 yards per boot. 2nd in the nation.
This guy puts on a show when he kicks.
Charlie Jones will return for the Bulldogs. Line drive kick. Room for Jones if he can find a crease. Richie Marsh runs him down. Charlie didn't have any support on that punt return. Bulldogs get it for the first time in the back half. They're leading 20-0. Just a couple minutes into the second half. We'll see what Fresno State can do when we return to Bulldog Stadium.
Bulldog football is brought to you by Pizza Hut and by Choice TV, your wireless cable connection.
Hello, Pizza Delivery.
New chunky style pizza?
Yes, we do. Big chunks of meat. Big chunks of fresh vegetables. You want one?
Hello, Domino's. Chunky style pizza.
Never heard of it.
No, chunky's not working today.
3 different kinds. We've got meat and veggie.
And meat and veggie.
If you want to try the new chunky style pizza, there's only one place to get it. Pizza Hut.
No chunky style.
No chubby style.
No funky style.
No hefty style.
Nothing like that. Yes.
Yes.
No chunks, no style.
Pizza Hut. Sometimes you gotta stop and smell the pizza.
Choice TV presents Changes in Technology. In the beginning, there was only black and white television. Then color television opened the door to the launching of satellites. Remote control gave us cable channel surfing. And now, Choice TV brings you wireless cable television. Call Choice TV today at 1-800-794-6400 and receive a free pair of Bulldog tickets with basic installation. Discover today's technology at Choice TV and enjoy television for tomorrow.
Has Captain Picard been murdered?
Was vaporized.
Or has he turned traitor?
I say kill him.
And when Riker uncovers the shocking truth,
I want this ship prepared for battle.
will the crew be led into an enemy trap?
Report to Enterprise. We are under attack down here.
The shields are down. On an all-new episode of Star Trek: The Next Generation.
Sunday night at 6 on your station, Fox 26.
Well, a good passing attack will have a lot of guys involved, and Fresno State's been able to get the outside guys involved, the tight end and the backs, Ralph.
Yeah, they're certainly spreading it around, and Charlie Jones, again, the favorite receiver of Trent Dilfer. I'm curious in the second half to see if Trent throws the ball deep or if they really just try to run it. We're wondering if he may have hurt his shoulder a little bit when he got hit on an offside play early in the game. So we're going to be keeping an eye on how he throws the ball the second half.
Well, we'll come out of the shotgun and run it with Ron Rivers trying to go wide. Rivers turns the corner and has a first down to the 38-yard line. Run out by Brian Watkins.
And if they can get the short running game established like that, he won't have to throw deep, and he won't expose his arm. But they look past when they're in the shotgun, and he just Gives it to Rivers. Russ Hartman out in front trying to provide a little escort for him. Rivers follows the bus.
I heard you took the bus home from what, Colorado?
Thanks for reminding me about that, man.
You knew something about buses.
I saw the scenery.
Ron Rivers sees a sea of white. He's spun down. Mike Black, the inside linebacker. Two-year letterman, able to greet Ron Rivers. 12:15 left in the third quarter. 20-0 Fresno State. Pretty good field position for the Bulldogs out at their 40-yard line.
That one didn't work. One of those plays where Rivers is stuck early. 6 carries, 30 yards for Ron Rivers tonight. Of course, he's got that record of 13 when he goes over 100 yards. Got a long way to go tonight.
Gilfer with the play action. And he misses Jeff Arnold. And Gilfer was pressured.
Yeah, it's kind of hard to tell whether his arm is really hurting because he was backpedaling when he let that one go, but something doesn't look right. You see the big pressure right up the middle. He's thrown off of his back foot, and that one just wobbles.
3rd down and 7 for the Dogs. Passing situation. Lee Harris and Malcolm Sebrin are in for Roberson and Burke. 0 of 3. But despite that, 20-0 Bulldogs. And that one was nearly picked off by Steve Russ.
Russ is just going nuts. He thought he had one right there, but played it like a linebacker. Little rollout to avoid the pressure, and Dilfer kind of tried to force that one in there to Sebron. Russ nearly had it. It would have been a great catch if he had been able to pick that off.
Yeah, the Falcons will get it back. Mahoney punting to Brian Watkins. Watkins from his 15. Slips down at the 17 or 18 where he's covered by Omar Stoutmire. That good field position for the Falcons, down by 20.
And I'll tell you, if you watch that closely, you saw number 8, James Fuller, right down there in his space again. He actually had to pull up to avoid one of those interference penalties like he had last time. The play eventually went away from him.
Well, the Falcons average 24 points a game. So far, they've been shut down by the Bulldogs. Cash across the 20. Tripped up by Andre Deshay, who did a good job of penetrating.
Andre Deshay coming up with the big play there, getting Cash right around the feet and dropping him.
It's time for This Week in Bulldog Sports, brought to you by Texaco, the star of the American Road. Bulldog volleyball team will be on the road at Cal Poly San Luis Obispo at a non-conference affair Friday at 7:30. Bulldog cross-country teams will host the Cal Nevada Cross-Country Championships on Saturday. Of course, this is This Week in Bulldog Sports, brought to you by Texaco, the star of the American Road. Air Force has a first down.
Little inside handoff to Malloy at fullback, picking up the first for the Falcons. Sticking to their game plan. They're going to keep running it and hoping that something breaks. That's the Bulldogs' biggest fear, of course, is that they get out on that perimeter and something breaks loose.
Well, we found out they can't pass it effectively. Turned it over. Obasi Onaha with a hard run. Steve Kastner with the stop. But the Falcons are piling up yardage. Boy, this has got to be disturbing to move the ball so freely. Look up at the scoreboard, and they're down by 20.
That's what those turnovers will do to you, Randy, though. You do. You get moving, and you just shoot yourself in the foot. And it's got to be frustrating for Fisher DeBerry and his team.
Jake Malloy piled up for little. Chris Peters, that active linebacker, number 52, playing injured. Getting to the ball carrier.
Bulldogs are doing a pretty good job up the middle here on defense. Last week we saw so many big runs up the middle and inside the tackles. Not able to do that against Fresno State tonight.
3rd and 3. Onaha. That's a first down run into the grasp of Lance Thomas. It's a good running back. You can see why he was an honorable mention all-conference player of the WAC last year.
And they are picking up the yardage, but they're not getting that big play that Fresno State was giving up last week. They expected to give up yards up the middle in this game.
Onaha needed 47 yards to reach 1,000 in his career. He has 25 tonight. Cash. The quarterback keeper running laterally, then try to cut it upfield. They compare him, at least talent-wise, to D. Dowis, who was a spectacular player. 87, 88, and 89 for Fisher DeBerry. Maybe the best they've ever had at the academy running the wishbone. He's not as clever with the football yet, but he really is quick. 4.4 in the 40, and he does have talent.
That's quite a compliment.
Yeah, Dallas was a great one. Little cross buck, little counter action to Jake Malloy. And the Bulldog territory to the 49-yard line. There's Wayne Young, one of the halfbacks, blocking for Malloy.
We were expecting to see a lot of young players in the game for Fresno State. The Bulldogs had made a commitment to get the kids in there because they just wanted guys who wanted to play.
Should be another first down. Obasi Onaha. Well, Kevin Sweeney, these Falcons are starting to drive the football again.
That's right, they are. But to reiterate a little bit of what Ralph would mention about the Bulldog youth, you've got Shatoni Sargent, a freshman, A.J. Gass in as a freshman, Omar Stoutmire in as a freshman, a young group of Bulldog defense. They're getting their rewards early here for Bulldog land.
Yeah, Sargent's in the game, number 91. Was going to be redshirted, but the Bulldogs have decided to let him play. And he is seeing his first action of the season. He's a big guy, another product of Long Beach Poly. Timeout, Fresno State. 7:56 left in the 3rd quarter. Falcons are moving. Let's come back and see if the Dogs can stop them right after this. Bulldogs are leading 20-0, but Air Force had a sustained 8-play drive, 36 yards, all on the ground. No surprise. First down, Bulldog 46. Again, the dive play with Jake Malloy, number 30.
I want to pick up on that thought I was making about getting the young guys in there too. You know, when Coach declared that it was open season on finding football players this week, his determination was to find guys that just really had the attitude. May not be as talented, but he really wanted guys who were going to leave it out on the football field. And he decided to give them a chance.
Preisendorf back in. Demetrius Edwards, the nose guard, limped off. Been playing with a bad ankle. And Papazian again tripping up Obasi Onaha. How many tackles has Ron Papazian been in on?
Papazian is just having a terrific game. In this situation, you'll see him fighting off the block with one arm. Then he'll try and lunge at the guy with the other and makes the tackle on Onaha. Great
3rd
play.
and 3. Here's a big play for the Falcons. See, they've done well on conversions. Ron Papazian unofficially has 11 tackles for the Bulldogs. We still have 6:45 left in the 3rd quarter. Wayne Young trying to go wide. A.J. Gass got to him, but I believe Young has the first down. Wayne Young is a senior from Fort Washington, Maryland. He's a guy that runs the 100 meters in 10.5. That's why they want to get him around the corner.
And Gass does a pretty good job to catch up to him. He starts to burst away, so he trips him up at the ankles. And, of course, who's number 95? Isn't that Ron Papazian again?
I would hope we know his,
my goodness,
his name by now. 95 is certainly a stick out. Falcons need to get it in the end zone this time. Jake Malloy has a first down. He's to the 16-yard line. Ridden down by Tommy Jones.
One of the rare opportunities there where things really opened up on that play for Air Force up the middle.
Well, Jake's been effective. He did not start the ball game. Joe Parisi did. We can see he's running hard.
And there's the big hole.
Nice cut.
2 big cutbacks, and then he takes Tommy Jones along with him for a little ride.
Odaha tripped up by Chris Peters, but he flies for about 3 yards.
Flies is a good description for the Air Force, but there are bodies flying around there in the trenches. Peters is just sacrificing his body. He'll take flight here, and look at that.
I think the Air Force should change its name, Ralph. Make it the Ground Force. Nothing air about it. 2nd and 7. Defense to try to shut this team down as Wayne Young is close to reaching the 10-yard line. Fans, of course, imploring the Bulldogs for a defensive stop and keep the shutout going. 5:20 left in the 3rd quarter. Bulldogs are leading the Falcons 20-0.
If you shut out this team, you've had a good day's work.
What a season it's already been for Cash, this quarterback for the Air Force. He's on the JV squad last year. Part of the ball club in his sophomore season. Well, they've been effective on 3rd down, and they need to pick one up here. Cash, touchdown. There is a flag. A late flag came in.
And that one's coming back, Randy.
Might be against Richie Marsh for holding. And again, Air Force finds a way to shoot themselves in the foot.
Flag came in late.
I believe it's away from the ball with Richie
I think
Marsh.
you're right. I think it was more toward the middle of the field, away from the play, which makes it even that much tougher to take.
Holding. 10-yard penalty against the offense. Repeat the 3rd down.
Boy, Fisher DeBerry has to be saying, what did I do wrong?
Painful penalty indeed. Instead of a touchdown, it's 3rd and 13. Alex Kleckner in, number 83, a wide receiver. Out of Colorado Springs, Colorado, wide to the left, everyone else in tight. Cash having trouble talking to his team. It's loud at Bulldog Stadium. Cash, with a nice effort, gets 10 yards. He still needs 3. So it'll be a 4th down.
And Fresno State did a great job on that one. They had to, sometimes you're outnumbered over there on that side of the ball. They had a lot of guys over there in position. I'm not sure they did such a great job of finishing up the play and ending it a little sooner, but you see Kasner out there, and Demetrius Edwards comes across the field to finish it off. But they did have a lot of people out there, and you want to have that winning the matchup of players.
How about Edwards? He just limped off with a bum ankle, comes right back in and runs down Cash. Well, McGinnis is going to try the field goal. A 27-yard attempt is partially blocked, and the Bulldogs have held again. Well, I'm surprised they didn't go for it, down 20-0.
I had to look twice to see that they were going for the kick. Yeah, I'm very surprised that they went for the field goal, Randy.
Especially the way they were running the ball. It was the penalty that stopped the Air Force. The Bulldogs blocked the field goal, and it remains 20-0 after the Shatoni Sargent block. Well, the Air Force Falcons thought they'd get on the board with a McGinnis 27-yard field goal, but Shatoni Sargent, the freshman, he's about 6'5" or 6'6", number 91 right in the middle.
Right in front of the referee there. He takes the dive, the lunge, his very first collegiate game. What vindication for special teams after getting killed last week at Colorado State.
Eric Kroll enters for the first time in the backfield, blocking for Anthony Daigle. Daigle, 5 yards. He's run down by Steve Russ, the inside linebacker.
Daigle's still looking for that Fresno State record, and they got to get down near the goal line. 5 carries, 22 yards so far for Daigle, but sure like to get that one rushing touchdown.
Wow. Jim Sweeney would like to see his offense move the football. One of the scores tonight was on the defensive side with Burton's 58-yard touchdown, and the other 2 were trick plays. Reverse and a reverse pass.
Not done much in the second half.
Charlie Jones. It's close to being a lateral. Jones upfield for just a few.
Falcons smelled that one out. That one was covered. You're right, Randy. That is a lateral. But they're not buying it. Russ comes over to finish it off.
3rd down and 7 for the Bulldogs. 3.5 to play in the 3rd. 20-0. Bulldogs looking for their 4th win in 6 outings. And looking for their first conversion. Lee Harris to the Air Force 45-yard line. 32 yards on that hookup.
Well, you come up with a big play when you need one. They've been able to do that in several situations tonight, although that's their first converted 3rd down. Right side of your screen, there's well, you can't quite see it. There was a little bit of, looked like holding there. But the little crossing pattern to Lee Harris, and well, that's a huge play. Keep the drive going, and of course now Fresno State gets another chance to get back into the game plan. They like to talk about the big scheme of things, mixing the run and the pass, and not having to go for these long 3rd down plays.
Daigle. 4 yards to the 41. Now Jim Sweeney's at a very comfortable position. Leading 20-0 for Fisher DeBerry. He said it would be what, 90-0? Well, he's about 70 points off, but he's still not happy.
Coach Sweeney, you said a comfortable position, but he might not be too comfortable with the inability to really get a good running game going. He's hoping to get some kind of ground attack, and this is the 2nd week in a row that they've been slowed.
Rivers, room outside. Brian Watkins bumped him out of bounds, but a first down deep in Air Force Falcon territory.
And that's exactly what Bulldogs wanted to do. They're trying to get that ground attack going. This play worked before.
Who says you can't run out of the shotgun?
That's right. They ran out of the shotgun earlier today. Of course, when you got big guys like Kenny Hall, number 77, out there throwing blocks, and Charlie Jones just getting in the way, that helps. 7 carries, 47 yards now for Ron Rivers, and a first down on that play.
Bulldogs have reached the Falcon 24. Try to build on a 20-0 lead. Chris Burke has entered. He's the fullback with Anthony Daigle. And Daigle ridden down by Mike Black. This Air Force team defensively, we should credit them. They've given up yards grudgingly. You see Dilfer's numbers, and Dilfer's thrown for 3 touchdowns in 4 of the 5 Bulldog games, and he's been limited tonight.
And I've been talking about the rushing game, and see Trent Dilfer trying to change the play here. Check off. He's got Burke and Daigle shifting positions. They're a little confused in the backfield. And that one was trouble from the start. But, you know, they are playing consecutive weeks. The number 1 and number 2 rushing defense teams.
Rivers, great block up front. First down, Fresno State. You know, Jeff Tedford talked to us yesterday about the leadership, the maturity factor of quarterback Trent Dilfer. We're seeing that tonight. It's not one of those nights where he's on, but he's still leading his team effectively when he has to make the big play.
Directing them into the right formations and offenses and getting the good plays off.
Of course, Jeff Tedford, a former quarterback for the Bulldogs, and he's coaching Trent Dilfer. And it's a nice job to have when you have a quarterback who's an All-American.
And we're getting into Anthony Daigle territory now.
Yeah, you're thinking about Daigle, and one more touchdown to be the all-time leader. This is Daigle. to the 10-yard line. And once again, Mike Black takes him down. Also their young man by the name of Kent Hennings. And if the name Hennings, number 95, sounds familiar, his brother Chad Hennings played for the Air Force Academy, won the 1987 Outland Trophy. And of course, Chad Hennings now with the Dallas Cowboys. Down to a minute left in the third quarter. Second down and 9. And the ball just outside the 10-yard line of the Falcons. Well, they're trying to get the ball to Anthony Daigle.
Trying to get it to him. He lost his footing there, but he needs one touchdown to break the total career touchdown mark. He also needs one on the ground. Now, of course, if he gets the one on the ground, he breaks 2 records at one time. But there you see, he lost his footing. Wasn't going to go much farther anyway.
Bulldogs need to get to the Air Force 1 for a first down. They need 8 for the touchdown.
Good drive for Fresno State so far.
Winans, Sebron are the wideouts. Dilfer's pass is batted down. And number 58 is an outstanding linebacker, Steve Russ, utilizing his 6'6" frame to knock that one away.
He also got big pressure early from number 43 coming off the edge on the left of the screen. That's the guy who slides past him, forcing Dilfer to throw the ball a little sooner than he wanted to.
Mahoney for the 3 out of the hold of Lance Thomas. 26-yard attempt. It is good. Final 40 seconds in the third quarter, and Fresno State has built a 23-0 advantage.
And a good kick for Derek Mahoney. It was a pretty drastic angle on that left hash mark, and he put that through and pumped his fist, and getting the congratulations of his kicking coach, who happens to be Jim Sweeney. Makes the coach feel good when his kicker does well too.
Well, everything is going well in the kicking game tonight for Fresno State. And that's a confidence builder for Derek Mahoney. And the man in your picture is going to be featured each Wednesday night on our 10 o'clock news watch. Bulldog coach Jim Sweeney will preview every upcoming game on Coach's Corner with our buddy Ralph Wood. It's all brought to you by the Pacific Bell Smart Yellow Pages.
Coach had a lot of interesting things to say this week about the emotion of this team and about playing to the level of your opponent and not being able to really reach that high emotional pitch game in and game out. But I think he's getting the kind of results he wanted tonight.
Well, the Bulldogs are a rugged home team. That's unquestioned. And their defense plays much better at home, at least it has, against Oregon State, Utah State, and again tonight against Air Force. That one appeared to hit Onaha and careen out of bounds. One of life's more embarrassing moments for Obasi Onaha.
He'll get a call from the Air Force soccer coach next week when he gets back.
He will. This is a great impersonation of Pele.
There we go.
Right there. Oops.
When it rains, it pours, doesn't it?
You see that drive chart is something Fisher DeBerry, if he had it on a piece of paper, he'd crumble it up in a hurry.
That is tough.
That's ugly.
That is tough to play a football game when you get that kind of field position.
And speaking of field position, the Falcons are at their 5. Joe Parisi just outside the 10. And the Falcons are looking for operating room in the final half minute of the third quarter.
Good play there by A.J. Gass. It's an encouraging sign. He's started the game with only 2 seniors in the front 7. So the young kids are really getting a chance, and they're making the most of it.
Fullback dive again. Crombie, number 43 for Fresno State with the hit, and time has expired in the third quarter. Bulldogs add 3 in this stanza from Derek Mahoney and build their lead to 23-0. Well, it'll take a real rally for the Falcons now. We'll see if they can do it in the final 15 minutes when we return to Bulldog Stadium after this. Episodes of The Simpsons. That's Sunday, October 31st, beginning at 8 on your station, KMPH, Fox 26. Jake Campbell with a great move. And Jake Campbell's in Bulldog territory, thrown down by Sam Watson. Well, Jake Campbell's been the big surprise for Air Force. When the season began, he was 4th team. He was way down on the depth charts, but he's played effectively. And with runs like this, he's moving up quickly. He's 2nd team, but this looked like a 1st teamer, didn't it?
Oh, we talked about that earlier. Their balanced attack is a balanced group of running backs. They come in kind of like Ron Rivers and Anthony Daigle. There's not much drop-off when one comes in for the other. Johnny Johnson picking up a lot of ground to drop him.
And Parisi for a short gain. Air Force brings their plays in through the receiver. That's why number 83 Kleckner has come on. That's got to be a lonely job being a wide receiver for the Air Force. You come in basically doing wind sprints. You're not playing on the game.
At least
never
you
really see the ball.
You get to talk in the huddle.
You get to talk to the coaches. And Omar Stoutmire's doing a lot of talking to Cash. And a late flag. By the way, Cash has rushed already for 118 yards. It's a face mask against the Dogs.
And very little to show for it. Randy and I were talking with Kevin during the break about how this team has been able to defend the wishbone here, and it's just simply guys sticking to their responsibilities. You know, you see a guy that might have the football or might not have the football, but that's your guy. You stay with him and don't worry about the other guy.
5-yard penalty against the defense. Repeat the 2nd down.
It also takes time to look at it and play against it. You just don't see it all that much anymore. Of course, the Bulldogs have seen option teams in Oregon State prior, and we'll see El Paso at the University of Hawaii will run it. And Baylor was an option team at the beginning of the season as well.
Well, they flipped into Hawaii's offense for a while here before they went back to the traditional wishbone. We were thinking that was going to do Fresno State well down the road.
And Jake Campbell's turned around. Our Pacific Bell Smart Yellow Pages 3/4 stat sheet shows a lot of yards on the ground for the Falcons. How many times do you see a team was rushed for 290 yards who's shut down? No points, but the 5 turnovers.
5 turnovers, tough to take. Of course, total yards very close.
We'll have a measurement.
You know, playing this wishbone thing at Fresno State, I was just wondering how much of a bugaboo it's really been for the players. How much is it a mental thing of, oh, we're playing the wishbone, we haven't been able to stop this thing, and it bothers them and it festers.
Academy has brought their faithful as well. Well, the Bulldogs are in good company. These Falcons win a lot of football games over the last 10 years. They've had a winning program, only one losing season for Fisher DeBerry. So it's not just the Bulldogs who haven't stopped the wishbone.
That's right.
In fact, a few years ago, they beat Ohio State in the Liberty Bowl.
Sure.
3rd down and 1. Quarterback keep by Cash. Should be good enough for the 1st down.
By the same token, you wonder what would it do for this team emotionally then to get a big stop like this against a wishbone team. I mean, you're not really stopping them from running the ball, but it sure looks good on the scoreboard. And they know that they've played well. Their bodies are flying all over on defense, and they're making big plays. They're making great hits. They're stopping that outside thing down the sideline that we saw so much.
Well, they're attending to Tim Dunn, and while we have the time, let's check in with Kevin Sweeney.
Well, Ralph, just to visit with you a little bit about what you were talking about. The issue is you're not going to stop Air Force. And the Bulldog defense has been a bend and not break defense. Made the big hits, made the big plays, and made them turn over the football. You cannot continue to hand the football to the fullback and the dive consistently, because Air Force doesn't have that much patience, and that's why the Bulldog defense has had some success.
And on every play, the defense gets more confidence.
Very true.
Things are working out. They're making stops. But I think the greatest thing is that we're not seeing those guys getting outside to the perimeter and running down the sideline, which was their greatest
outside,
fear.
we've had tremendous hits by the Bulldog defense.
Exactly.
Tim Dunn is off, and he's okay for the Air Force. On third down, the pitch to Jeremy Johnson.
Perfect example right there. Couldn't get around the corner. Omar Stoutmire getting rocked back a little bit, but the Bulldogs are getting out, and there's Papazian again. Johnny Johnson, James Burton stringing it out, using that sideline.
Johnson able to pick up 4. It's 2nd down and 6. And again, the Falcons looking to score in Bulldog territory. Chris Peters and Demetrius Edwards holding their ground on that fullback dive. This Peters is an active inside backer, isn't he?
Peters is doing a great job tonight. Demetrius Edwards had a little talk with the coach because he was upset about last week's game, but Edwards is the guy who gets a little hand on him and then turns him over to Chris Peters, who swallows him up, and Papazian comes in to finish it off.
Yeah, Parisi not able to move it upfield. I mean, Cash looking at 3rd and 7.
That's just a terrific illustration of how this team has been playing. You know, everybody getting to the ball carrier.
The screen, and Parisi fights for a 1st down. Well, the 2 passes that Cash has been able to complete have been the screens. And both to the fullback. Earlier was Jake Malloy.
Well, I really wondered if this guy was ever going to throw another pass in this game, because he'd come out trying to pass, and then, no, it's not worth it. Not worth the chance. But that one's pretty safe.
And pretty effective. Although Brad Bell lunged for it, tried to pick it off for the Dogs. Once again, the Falcons inside the 20. And Cash takes quite a sock as he dents the 14 from Alfonso Bigelow. I'll tell you, these Bulldogs are rattling cages tonight. They're also talking, and there's a flag.
Here's Cash coming down the line, deciding he's going to keep it. He spins, and he'll turn right into Alfonso Bigelow. There was some talking going after that play, and I think they're going to say it was Alfonso.
This will move it closer to the Bulldog goal line.
Of course, when you make a good hit like that and a good play, that should be all the talking you need to do. Unfortunately, sometimes guys get a little too fired up.
Unsportsmanlike conduct. Half the distance to the goal. Penalty against the defense. 1st down.
Well, the Falcons can sense their 1st score of the night. At the Bulldog 8. Air Force has rushed for 338 yards, and they still haven't scored. 23-0 Bulldog. Cash, touchdown as he walks in. An 8-yard run from Damon Cash. Remember, he had one called back earlier. This one counts, and the Falcons are on the board.
Great fake to the fullback there. Kind of froze everybody inside, and Cash pulls it back out. See Omar Stoutmire not sure which way to go, and there's the hole in the touchdown.
Cash has rushed for 133 yards. At 172 on the ground against the Aztecs of San Diego State. And he's only a sophomore. Chris McGinnis for the PAT. And there are a lot of flags down. Bulldogs were offside.
Going to be on the left side of the frame. Omar Stoutmire getting a little early jump on everybody.
Offsides. Penalties half the distance to the goal. Against the defense. We'll repeat the try.
Air Force would appear to be going for 2. Now that it's been moved closer to the goal line. PAT normally comes from the 3, so they'll be trying from 1.5 yards out. Trying to move within 23-8. It's 23-6 Fresno State. Cash going to throw the ball wide open. A perfectly executed play to Daigle, the tight end. Now wide open.
And wow, I thought we were going to get a great look at the wishbone from the end zone camera and see how that thing came around the outside. Willie Robinson shaking his head said no, they couldn't pass that ball.
So with all the adversity, the Falcons with 11:27 left, there's still some flaps into the wings of these birds. We'll be back after this. Well, Air Force able to get a touchdown from Cash and a 2-point conversion. And suddenly the Falcons, who are only 1-5, have a chance. But they're going to have to stop the Bulldogs and Malcolm Sebron, who's set to return. Chris McGinnis, North Augusta, South Carolina, to kick off for Air Force. He got his leg into this one. And Sebron delaying but coming out. And that was ill-advised. Should not have brought the ball back as Dave Brackney knocked him down. And the Bulldogs will start from just outside their 10.
Well, the coaches will have a talk with him when he gets back to the sideline about that. He didn't want to take that ball out. Look at the
once
crowd.
again, that's 41-031. That's the same number that was here for Utah State, and it means sellout. These Bulldogs are well supported by the Red Wave. Well, Trent Dilfer back in. See if he can move the team. Bulldogs need to move the football. Their defense has been on the field a lot today.
Need to get a little drive going here and run some time off the clock.
Yeah, they need to rest the defense. Intended for Charlie Jones. It'll be 2nd and 10.
Well, Dilfer's arm looked pretty good there. Of course, that wasn't going all out. A little pump fake trying to spring Charlie. Numbers aren't so bad. 10 out of 18, 153 yards, but no touchdowns. That's kind of unusual, Trent Dilfer.
San Diego State, a big winner tonight over Colorado State, 30-3. San Diego State is 2-0 in the WAC, 4-2 overall. Second conference loss for Colorado State. That one is caught by Titus Winans. And a first down for Fresno State.
After he throws the pass, Eric Davis kind of lowers the boom on Dilfer. So he took a shot to get this pass away, but ouch, you can see it there. He does this so well. He looks and looks and looks over the field before he finds somebody open. They have several guys open on this team, and he just kind of has his choice.
On the 26th, first down. Rivers with a nice cut. Rivers is just tripped up. Ron Rivers, the first time in a while he's been able to see some daylight.
Kind of looks like he's running on skates or something. Where he's look the little tiny little steps he takes, and then he can burst in a different direction and shift so quickly that he pulls away from guys and turns little gains into big ones.
Well, if Kelvin King doesn't knock him down, he might have gone the distance. Pitch to Daigle. That was well defense by Air Force.
Dilfer now says, okay, We've got things under control here. We're going to try and take some time off this clock. Let's get back to the game plan. Play comes in from Charlie Jones. Try and keep this ball. Give our defense a rest. March down the field.
Notre Dame has beaten BYU 45-20 at Provo. Of course, Bulldogs will go to Provo next week to take on the Cougars, who've lost their last two to UCLA and now the Fighting Irish. On the delay. Penalty thrown at a place where you'd think it'd be a hold against Fresno State as Daigle crosses the 50-yard line.
You're right, Randy. It was a late flag, but it came right in there in that area where you think it's a hold, and it is.
One other WAC score to report tonight. In a shootout, Utah 45, UTEP 29. Utes have been a disappointment to this juncture in the WAC, but they'll take the win over the Miners tonight by 16.
Holding. 10-yard penalty against the offense. Pete's second down.
Penalty puts the Bulldogs in a second and long situation. That's a pretty good play to call at that point, because it looked like the Air Force was coming with some guys on a blitz, little stunt type thing. You know, you open up a hole there and you can pop that guy through the first crowd. You're in good shape.
Well, Trent Dilfer's been throwing the ball accurately this year. He's been picked off only 4 times, only in the Oregon State game. In fact, he's got 123 consecutive throws without an interception. Let's hope we don't put the hex on him. On 2nd and 19, a throwing situation. And Dilfer loses the ball. And Air Force has it. The recovery by Rod Melzer. Rod Melzer's undersized, but he's loved by Fisher DeBerry. He says if he was 50 pounds heavier, he'd be in the NFL.
Watch number 43, Johnny Harrison, come from behind, and with his fist, he will just punch the ball right out of Trent Dilfer's right hand. And Rod Melzer there to jump on it for the turnover. And Air Force now has the ball in great shape. Watch it again. The right hand will just slap down at the ball and knock it loose. That's a heads-up play by Johnny Harrison.
And the Falcons are back in the hunt. See if they can capitalize on the Bulldogs' first turnover. Campbell picks up 7 or 8. And he's socked pretty good by Steve Kastner. But again, a good job by Cash waiting to the last second to distribute the ball.
And again, he paid for it. Watch number 80, A.J. Gass. He's going to go right in his face. Boom, right there. You know, and that's what the Bulldogs wanted to do every single play, was get into the face of Cash and make him pay.
8.5 minutes left in the 4th quarter. Air Force trailing the Bulldogs 23-8. But they're trying to capitalize on a Dilfer fumble. Cash close to the 15-yard line. He's an excitable young man, isn't he?
Excitable and exciting, the way he makes things happen out there. They're in that Hawaii offense again. They got guys running in all directions. They've been shifting back and forth between that and the wishbone. Sam Watson coming in again. There's Brad Bell, 54, but it's Peters who throws him down.
Third and 1 for DeMond Cash. First and goal, Air Force at the 6-yard line. Cash following the block of Jake Malloy. And if the Falcons score here, we could have a very interesting finish.
And they very nearly broke this one up early. You saw Chris Peters just miss that tackle. That would have been for a loss, and that would have stopped it. Bulldogs have an injured player on the field, too. We're trying to pick up the number about the 14-yard line.
Well, the Falcons sticking to their game plan. Keeping it on the ground. And now they're trying to be opportunistic. Fisher DeBerry felt coming in he could win every game remaining on the schedule. That would surprise a lot of people, but he felt he could win them all and have a winning season. Well, the Falcons are rallying. It's up to the Bulldogs to try to stop them defensively. Still 7:33 left. Injured Bulldog Chris Rockwell, we're happy to report, walked off under his own power, but he was woozy. And the Falcons right there, led by DeMond Cash. Their quarterback is starting to run like Charlie Ward of Florida State. Runs for 145 yards in this game. Jeremy Johnson, touchdown Air Force. And the Falcons have all the momentum, Ralph Wood.
And we told you at the beginning of this telecast that this Air Force team was a team that would play every down, snap to whistle. They would come at you from the opening kickoff to the final gun.
And you have to wonder how much steam is out of the Bulldog defense with Air Force pounding it all night long.
Well, you know, we were talking about how Fresno State was gaining confidence in their defense when they were making the big plays. Now that confidence may be shifting a little bit because Air Force has grabbed all the momentum.
Well, Air Force is down by 9. And they're going to go for 2. They were successful going for 2 the last time on a pass to Daigle, the tight end. A whistle stops play. Had a delay a game.
Well, that hurts them because that takes it back 5 yards. They didn't get the play off before the clock ran out.
Well, Kevin Swinney, did you have that one figured out? Did you figure out the play?
I do. They're getting away from it, Randy. They've been so successful on first down, gaining 3 yards. You think that they just run the football in there. The last 2-point play, they ran the rollout for the easy pass, and then there they were going to run halfback option pass. A little niftier here. Fresno State, Willie Robinson, defensive coordinators yelling, watch for tricky plays.
Well, that delay of game disrupted the attempt. They'll try it again. This time from the 8-yard line. This is a 2-point conversion try. 23-14. Cash the quarterback. Keep. He won't get there. Leroy Colbert, number 55, along with Brad Bell, deny Air Force, and it'll take 2 scores for the Falcons. It's 23-14 Fresno State with 7:22 remaining.
Why is it always the same old story? Why ask why?
Well, the Bulldogs may be thinking that the Falcons may onside kick. They have the good hands team in, the likes of Jeff Arnold, Rod Rivers, Anthony Daigle. But it is early in terms of the onside kick with 7:22. Air Force scored the last 14 points. And McGinnis will kick it deep. Charlie Jones with a pretty good catch. Steps out of bounds at the 22-yard line.
Charlie made something out of nothing there. He is a guy who makes it exciting, isn't he?
Well, he has 2 touchdowns tonight.
He made that one exciting. It was kind of like a bad hop, the shortstop with a bad hop.
After the Dilfer fumble, 4 plays, 25 yards. And the Falcons scored quickly. Bulldogs can ill afford 3 and out. They want to get a couple first downs and work on that clock.
That's right, but they're in good shape with this guy at quarterback.
Sweep with Rivers. In pretty good shape with that guy, too.
Yeah, you can't go wrong giving the ball to Ron Rivers.
LaRon Hudgens out of the secondary made the stop. 10 yards for Ron Rivers. Well, Kevin, it's late in the game. The Bulldogs still would like to establish that ground attack.
Well, keep that ground attack going. Randy, it's amazing to me. Fresno State's ran that play 4 times. That's 80 or 90 Bob Gio with a crack by the flanker coming in, David Dunn. And it's been successful every time. You think that Air Force defense would say, look out, here it comes, and run to the sweep.
Ron Rivers on the year averages 6.4 yards. It's better than that tonight, 10 for 87. Obviously, that's 8.7. Going in on another 100-yard game. This is Daigle. Bouncing outside. The Falcons are tackling for the football, and they pay the price as Daigle runs for a first down.
Perfect example of that on this play. They're tackling the football is exactly right. Daigle breaks into the open. And you'll see it here. They'll grab for the football, and he'll kind of just reassure it, tuck it away, put both hands on it. Here's the grab right there. The other hand goes on the ball. There's a face mask penalty right there, which is going to tack on a little more yardage.
Steve Rust, the guilty party. He's number 58 for Air Force. Daigle's rushed for 44 yards this evening, complimenting Ron Rivers, who's run for 87. Bill McCabe will tell us it's a face mask.
Face mask penalty. 5 yards against defense. First down.
Bill, I normally don't upstage him like that, but that one was obvious.
Well, it's a good call and easy to call. You saw Ron Rivers trot off the field with 87 yards, and they certainly would feel a little more comfortable if he could get another 13.
Yeah, they're 13-0. So 13 is the operative number when he gets to 100.
And he averages, what, 6.4 a carry?
Kevin Sweeney, do you have an update on Chris Rockwell?
Well, yes, I do. Chris has a pinched nerve in his neck. He probably will not return to the game, but not as bad as before.
Rivers inside the 40, and he delivers the blow. Went off and see that. He knocked Tom Shield backwards. Well, this senior running back, small, diminutive football player, but he's a pretty tough cookie, isn't he? Watch number 20 hit number 28.
He's small, but he packs a punch. An old wrestler, and watch number 28 when they meet.
Get out of my way.
Tom Shield, and good night, Tom Shield.
Rivers, for his effort, gets 7. 6 yards shy of the century mark. Now the Bulldogs, with 5:54 left, have reached the Air Force 40. 23-14 Bulldogs.
Pretty good passing situation here, 2nd and 3.
Daigle appears to be shy of the necessary yardage, although that second lunge made it very close.
He's about a half yard short.
Well, late nights following the 10 o'clock news here on KMPH. Don't miss the new king of late night, and the only man who can fill the late night gap during the Chevy Chase Show. Monday, Chevy welcomes the legendary actor, comedian Don Rickles, star of Fox's new hit comedy, Daddy Dearest. That's Monday night at 11, only on your station, KMPH, Fox 26. 3rd and short. Daigle inside the 20 with a Bulldog first down, and he nearly broke it for the record.
Bulldogs lined up in that T-heavy formation, that short yardage formation, and this time they take it outside, which is the... And when you give it to that guy, he can't take it outside. Got a good block, get around the corner. And boy, that would have been nice to get into the record books with a run like that.
Well, Jim Sweeney said at halftime he wasn't happy with the offense because they've had to do it with trick plays. On this drive, they've been able to do it with hard-nosed football, running the football at the Falcons and around the Falcon corners.
Again, we told you earlier that they feel that they are at their best when they are running a controlled offense. That is moving the sticks, running the clock, keeping their defense on the bench and resting up, putting points on the board. So that's what they're trying to accomplish here, and they're in pretty good shape right now.
All tickets are still available for the Bulldogs' next home game. It's the UTEP Miners. They'll be in town on November 6th. Along with the exciting action of the Bulldogs on the field, there'll be fireworks and skydivers. And those guys are accurate. They normally hit the 50-yard line. Kickoff is at 5 o'clock. That's a change from 7, 5 o'clock. And for more ticket information, call 278-DOGS. Ready and schedule. The next two are rugged indeed. The BYU game, an ABC game, and we'll be at Wyoming on KMPH as the Cowboys will try to lasso the Bulldogs. Rivers, no running room. For the next 2 weeks, the Bulldogs have a chance to do some real positive things and make 1993 a very good year.
Oh, these are going to be tough games coming up at Brigham Young and then at Wyoming. You don't know what the weather's going to be like up there, but those are two very talented teams in this conference, and that's it's going to be tough.
Now to 4:45 left. Fresno State in very good shape to win their 4th game in 6 outings and go 2-1 in the WAC. And the Falcons are looking down the barrel of 6 consecutive losses. Pitch to Daigle. He's to the 12-yard line. driven down by Saxon Yandel, the outside linebacker. Saxon Yandel, number 21, a special kind of guy for Air Force. He's been on the Dean's list 6 different times.
And he was the guy that Willie Robinson was concerned about, because he said he comes off of that edge so well and could cause Trent Dilfer some real problems. So far, they've been handling him pretty well.
Mike Black coming in from the linebacking stop. Gets in there for a quick move and drops Anthony Daigle.
Big play by Black there to shut it down right on the outside.
The Bulldogs have worked the clock down to 3.5 minutes in the 4th quarter, and time is running short for Fisher DeBerry. And Mahoney on 4th down will try another 3-pointer. A 32-yard attempt. That went from 26 earlier. He's got it. 26-14 Bulldogs. The Fresno State Quarterback Club meets each Thursday at high noon in the Residence Dining Hall on the campus. Hear what head coach Jim Sweeney has to say about past opponents and upcoming games Thursdays at noon. And he'll be talking, I'm sure, at a feverish pitch about next week's encounter with BYU. Of course, he's very close friends with Lavelle Edwards, and Lavelle's not going to be in a very good mood, Ralph, after being hammered by Notre Dame tonight.
And UCLA last week. He really had his lunch handed to him the last 2 games. But they will be ready for the Bulldogs. You know that. And there'll be over 60,000 people up there to cheer them on.
Well, Derek Mahoney, a couple field goals tonight. Closing in on being the all-time leading scorer at Fresno State. It's been a good night for Derek after a not so good day in Colorado against Colorado State.
Derek and the special teams, and it's now it was a 2-possession game when they had a 23-14 lead. A field goal and a touchdown would have done it for Air Force. Now they have to score 2 touchdowns, so pretty good shape for Fresno State now.
First ever meeting between Fresno State and Air Force, and it's been an entertaining game. Kicks out of bounds, and the Falcons will start from their 35.
Well, I guess that was a pooch kick. I'm not sure if that was intentional, but that was not that was not good. But you don't risk the big long run back there. But I don't know why they would have been afraid of that, because they've been playing so well on kick cover tonight anyway. And they had really been playing well on those kickoff returns.
Well, Cash will remain in at quarterback. Scott Tigan, who has played the last 2 games subbing for Cash, perhaps the better thrower, but they're going to stay with Cash, who's been so effective running the wishbone.
Well, they feel they have a great future with this guy, and you know, he's done a great job operating the offense tonight.
That one is caught by Richie Marsh. That keeps his streak alive. He's caught at least 1 pass in every game this season.
James
first down.
Tight coverage on that. He was the guy who delivered the big hit right after the catch. Watch Burton, number 19, right after the reception. He is there to seal the deal.
Cash. Pretty good cut before he ran into the Bulldogs secondary, and in particular Johnny Johnson. Well, everyone's been caught tonight. Unfortunately for Cash, the one that was caught by the Bulldogs went for 58 yards and a TD.
That was
for James Burton.
Big play in this ball game as it's turning out, Randy.
Well, the hurry-up offense. For Johnson. Just outside the boundary. That's a near miss with 2:26 left.
And, you know, we were watching them warm up during the pregame tonight, and they threw the ball pretty good in warm-ups, and we said, well, you know, they got arms and they can throw deep, but Of course, there was nobody playing defense, but this is a pretty good toss here.
Just couldn't drag one in.
Supposed to keep it in the field.
Look at that number, 9 of 12 on third down conversions. If you would have shown the stats other than the turnovers to Fisher to Berry, you'd be smiling ear to ear. That one was nearly intercepted. And Johnson in front of Richie Marsh.
And that one probably should have been intercepted. No, you're right. You look at the stats and you wonder how Air Force and the way they've run this wishbone tonight, the way they run their offense. Well, that nearly stuck in Johnny's face mask. But you wonder how they're 1-5 and look like on their way to 1-6.
They lost a lot of close games other than the BYU game. Probably win a couple more before this year is over. But a disappointing season for the Falcons. 2:21 left. Fourth down, and Air Force forced to go for it. Cash running outside. When he turned the corner and got away from Burton, he got his first down. He is pesky, isn't he?
He is good. He also got out of bounds to stop the clock. So he gets it to the outside, and of course Steve Kasner, you see, he went around him like he was standing still. He's no match. Burton trying to catch up to him and just gets away, but he does pick up the first down.
157 yards for Cash. And again, his best outing, 172 against San Diego State. Chased by Brad Bell. You see a receiver over there at all?
Several guys on the other side of the sideline are raising their hands saying that was intended for me.
Well, Bell was closing in on the quarterback, and that's all Cash could do is unload.
And there's a package right there. I'll tell you, Brad Bell is a piece of work.
There's a piece of heart, too. I'll tell you, he's one of those guys who's an overachiever. You know, he's not all that big, although he's built himself up over 260 pounds, but he has really become hard-nosed and gets the job done week in and week out.
Built himself up through hard work terrifically over the summer and came here in great shape and is doing great things.
Second down and 10. Time running out for Air Force. Quarterback keep again by Cash. His balance at least got him out of bounds. And you're right, Ralph. He's taken a lot of punishment tonight.
Taking a lot of hits. He's awfully tough to bring down. I think I mentioned the old bar of soap type thing. A wet bar of soap. He gets away. It looks like Colbert there. Watch number 62 on Colbert. Just kind of take him down. Yeah, that would be holding, I would think. But it may not matter at this point.
Third down for Fisher to Berry. Falcons looking for the big play. Johnson gives him the big play, and he gives him a touchdown. Watson was turned around. And a 38-yard touchdown, Cash to Jeremy Johnson, and just like that, it's 26-20.
You're right. He throws the ball on the break, and Sam Watson never sees it. Too late. Johnson with the catch and the touchdown. This Cash is something.
Air Force still has all 3 timeouts remaining. And they've closed to within 26-20. And McGinnis misses. Nevertheless, the Falcons are within 6. And now the Good Hands team will get tested.
Yeah, you can be pretty sure you're going to see an onside kick here. Although with all 3 timeouts, you could kick off and depend on the defense to hold him and get the ball back.
Cash talking to the coaches upstairs. The one mistake, that bad pass cost him. He turned it over on a fumble. But even with the mistakes, this guy's an exciting performer.
trying very hard to make up for that one mistake.
This week in Bulldog sports, of course, 9th-ranked soccer team. Our Texaco friends will tell us that they will host Cal on Thursday. Also, the golf team will compete in Stockton on Monday. This week in Bulldog sports brought to you by Texaco. Texaco, star of the American road.
Soccer team coming off a tough 1-0 loss to Air Force. I hate to add that, but hope that's not an omen for this game.
65 yards at only 1:14, the big play. All the good hands people are in. And Chris McGinnis with the onside kick. And a friendly hop for the Bulldogs.
Lee Harris coming up with the football. And now, one first down might do Fresno State wonders in this ball game.
Lee Harris being congratulated. Some lightning in the background. And the Bulldogs like to light it up for just one more first down and put the Falcons to bed for the evening. 26-20 Fresno State. Ron Rivers twisting and turning to the Falcon 49.
The Bulldogs knew what kind of opponent they were going to face. They weren't sure about their skill level except for running this wishbone offense, but they knew that these guys would come at them every play and they would not give up, and certainly been an indication of that the way they've come back and made this a ball game.
First time out taken by Air Force. Minute 45 remaining. Kevin Sweeney, your thoughts on Trent Dilfer at this stage? Will he elect to throw, or will they keep it on the ground?
Oh, no, Randy. They're going to run the football here on 2nd and 4. And I just wanted to kind of talk a little bit about Trent's performance tonight. You know, the key in every football game is to be a winning quarterback. And I'm sure there's some frustration on his part because he didn't hit all the balls that he wanted to throw and didn't get the opportunity to throw as much as he did last week. But once again, he'll get that win, and that's most important. And we got to look at the fact he watches Charlie Ward. He watches all those great quarterbacks on Saturday, and he compares himself to them. He compares himself to them. And I think there's no greater quarterback in the land than Trent Dilfer.
Well, his numbers aren't all that bad, Kevin. 11 of 19, 166 yards, and hit the big one. But you know, a normal game for Dilfer.
Normally, you know, every game he starts off so crisp. He's 8 of 9, or 12 for 12, or 12 for 14, and he didn't get that good start right off the bat. And I don't know if that affected throughout the game, but difficult to have that everything focusing in on you every game you go out.
Rivers unofficially with 99 yards rushing. Ron Rivers has 100. And a few extra, and you know what that means. Every time he's rushed for over 100, Fresno State has won the ball game.
Turn out the lights, right?
Yep, this should be 14 in a row. Rivers thought he should have scored a touchdown.
This is what he does so well. He takes it outside. Actually, he cuts inside, gets around the guy, and then takes it outside. Heads for the side. Oh, what a straight arm. Big play by Ron Rivers. Probably wish he hadn't gone out of bounds, though.
That is his average, 118 yards. There's nothing average about Ron Rivers, though. He is a talented performer. Just holding onto the ball, and Air Force will come in and I'm sure use their second timeout. They're down to 1 with 1:27 remaining.
Talked about what that loss at Colorado State might have done to Fresno State, and what it did was focus them on Air Force. You know, we thinking maybe they had won Colorado State. They might have looked past this one to Brigham Young, but not after losing to Colorado State. They were focused on the Air Force.
Well, there's still good tickets available for the Bulldogs' next home game. That's, of course, against UTEP on November 6th. All 2-7-8 Dogs for that attraction. UTEP can score. They can move it on the ground. Pretty talented talented offensive team. Their problem has been defense. They narrowly beat North Carolina early this year, and again, felt the number 2, 7, 8 Dogs. Carolina has one of the better teams in the country. Well, Jim Swinney's team's going to get out of here with an apparent victory, barring a turnover. Richard DeVary's team showed some character. They were down 23-0. And they put the scare into the Bulldogs.
They certainly did, and this was a terrific comeback, a terrific effort by a team that does not quit. You've got to knock them out. They're not going to lay down, and that's what the Bulldogs are trying to do now. Knock them out and finish them off.
Well, it would be appropriate if the Bulldogs could get into the end zone for Anthony Daigle to break the record, but they're not thinking about records. They're thinking about holding on to the ball. This is Daigle. And he has a first down inside the 20. Now that script is made for Hollywood, isn't it? Give him the ball at the end of the game and break the record.
That would be terrific. Dean Philpott wouldn't have to make any more road trips to present him the game ball when he breaks that record.
You keep loaning him money, don't you, for those trips?
I don't know if he can get any more time off from Sanger High School. He was back at Colorado State in anticipation that the record might be broken. He's here tonight in anticipation that they might be broken. And
it might. Final minute 5 remaining. Daigle's carried for 77 yards. 60 seconds remain. And the Bulldogs will be 2-1 on the WAC. And it's Daigle to the 15. And Air Force will utilize its final timeout.
I expect that's what you'll see the rest of this game if they even hand it off at all now, because now that they're out of timeouts, Trent can take a snap and go down on the knee and just run the clock out. And as Anthony Daigle goes to the sideline, Dean Philpott is thinking, well, I might be in Utah next week to watch that game.
I think he better get it in Provo, right? He doesn't have to travel to Laramie the following week.
Well, that's true, yes.
Steve Mashagian talking to Trent Dilfer. Mashagian, the receivers coach. But Trent Dilfer is so knowledgeable. He knows what he has to do here. That's just keep it on the ground. It's second down at 6. So if they just hold on to the ball, they win the game.
Such an advantage to have a guy like Dilfer as your quarterback. They call him a coach on the field. His knowledge of the game similar to that of Kevin Sweeney. Guys that just kept things under control when they're out there. They get everybody in the right spot in the huddle for the big plays and get the ball to them when they're supposed to. And don't make the big mistakes and just win football games for you. Some people might say that they won ugly tonight, but a win's a win in this conference.
Bulldogs about to go 3-0 at home. Final 49 seconds. Ron Rivers is in. And Rivers has the handoff. Ron Rivers has the touchdown. For Ron Rivers, his 9th rushing touchdown, and the fireworks on homecoming, and that seals the victory at 32-20.
Couldn't they have given that play to Anthony Daigle and let him score?
Well, for Anthony Daigle, perhaps that record will come at BYU. But more importantly, the Bulldogs have a WAC victory. It's 33-20 after the PAT by Derek Mahoney. Let's take a look at Ron Rivers and the touchdown run.
And what he does so well. They'll take it. It looks like it's going inside, and he just bounces it outside. Oh, what a great move there. In and back out and into the end zone. Another look from a different angle. Watch the fake on Kelvin King. See ya. Number 11. Touchdown, Ron Rivers. Money in the bank. Old Man Rivers, they call him, you know, the senior here. And he's flowing tonight.
And the Bulldogs, a 13-point lead. Fans, of course, are Going home knowing that the Bulldogs have won the football game and keep the dream alive of winning the WAC championship. But a lot of that will be determined in the next 2 weeks. And still a lot to be determined when you think that Wyoming's undefeated in the conference. BYU is 4-0. San Diego State is unbeaten. And the Bulldogs are 2-1. So still a lot of things could happen over the next 4 or 5 weeks.
Of course, and people were concerned about that Colorado State loss, but you know, a bowl game is certainly very realistic for this Fresno State team in any event. If it's not the Holiday Bowl, it'll be another bowl game.
Obasi Onahi has come close to breaking a few this year, but he can't here. Not to the 20. There's A.J. Gass again. Number 80 is an active freshman. It'll only get better for Fresno State.
Chris Tolbert, number 39, with a terrific play on that. He took on the wedge, about 3 blockers, and knocked everybody down. He looked like a bowling ball, taking the head pin. Watch number 39. Boom, boom. Takes those 2 guys out. Knocks them down. Look at that.
Final 38 seconds, and then the Falcons will regroup. This will be their 6th consecutive loss. They host Citadel next week. They figure to win that game. And the Bulldogs, and Omar Stoutmire has the interception.
And gets the congratulations of Sam Watson, the man he replaced in the starting lineup. But, Omar Stoutmire from a very familiar school to Fresno State, Long Beach Poly, the school that gave us one of Omar Stoutmire's idols, Marquez Pope. And he's just playing center fielder out there and picks it up. Interception for Omar Stoutmire.
Oh, Richie Donati will come in and play quarterback for the Bulldogs. And you can see Jim Sweeney now is all smiles.
Good to see him feeling much better about his team than he was a week ago.
Donati takes the snap and kneels down. Bulldogs will not have to run another play. This one's over. So Fresno State able to hold off Air Force 33-20. Jim Sweeney will meet Fisher DeBerry. And Sweeney really appreciates the coaching abilities of Fisher DeBerry. He has high praise for his counterpart tonight. He respects this Air Force team.
Well, you have to respect the desire with which these kids play. I mean, they never did give up tonight.
Well, not the kind of game, though, Ralph, that anybody thought. Fisher DeBerry said 90-0. Jim Sweeney said 52-51, but it was a competitive, hard-fought game.
Turned out to be a very entertaining ball game as well.
Fireworks on homecoming, and the Bulldogs, their 3rd win without a loss at Bulldog Stadium this year. Something about fireworks is so fun to watch, isn't it?
Yes, it is.
Well, the Bulldogs have enough to beat Air Force tonight, 33-20.